a massively sad day. I want to talk to you all about what's happening with the Greek holidays, because as some of you will be aware, I've been offering photography holidays in Greece with my business partner Chrissy for the last 3 years, and well, got to a point now with it where we're not getting the customers that I thought we'd get, or that we needed to get in order to make the thing profitable. And it costs a lot of money, you know, to go all out there and to get all the sort of recce missions done and deal with all the marketing and everything else. And well, this long into it, we hope that we would be getting regular bookings on the tours, and the fact is that we're just not. There's just so much shortfall between what we need in terms of customers, bums on seats, and what we're actually getting. And so today is the day that I have to make the decision and literally bite the bullet and say, this is it, we're not going to be offering them anymore. So it's a very sad day, but you know, we gave it a good crack, and we learned a lot. And well, apart from anything else, it's certainly given me a huge love of the Greek culture and the Greek people, and it's a place that's very close to my heart. But at the same time, you know, you have to have your business head on sometimes and say what's going to be profitable, what's going to work for you, and what's going to be the best way that you can make your money go the furthest. And so if you invest in a business, you have to figure out if you're going to get a return on that. And well, the reality is that I've invested pretty heavily in this and haven't got the return. So that's the way business goes. It's big boys playing. It's, you know, it's not a kid's game. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and so that's just how it is. But I am not going to be quitting altogether with photography or anything like that. I'm simply moving into things that I think are going to be more profitable for me and give me that buzz of creativity that I love, that I need to get from my day job.
So what is the best camera to vlog with? I'm going to be taking you through the options that I use and giving you the pros and cons of each one, and letting you know what I think are the best cameras to use for vlogging. So first of all, I want to talk about the Humble smartphone. The nice thing about the Humble smartphone is that, well, you've all got one. It's what I'm recording this on. If you can see, I don't know if you can see the reflection of the phone in the phone. There we go, look at that, that's Inception for you, isn't it? But there we go. This particular one is a Samsung Galaxy S8, and that's also the one that I'm filming on. I have to have two of those for the time being. So this is the best way to get started because it's the one that's in your pocket all of the time. Now, these are tremendous for most things, and actually the cameras in a lot of them these days are also very, very good. However, there are a couple of things to make note of. The first is that the low light performance in these isn't terribly good, and you will get some noise artifacts or some overly excessive smudging and smoothing of shots when they get dark, so that's really worth paying attention to. The other thing is that these little microphones that they've got on the phones they're designed for making phone calls on, really. They're not designed for cutting out a tremendous amount of wind buffeting and noise. And so while they're really good inside, the microphone quality outside isn't very good. They're also fairly non-directional as microphones as well. So if you're quite close to it like I am now, then it's not so bad. But if you get further away from it, then you will find that the thing gets kind of echoey. So when I'm on the other side of the room, you are going to be able to pick up a lot of the ambient audio that's in the room. Because I'm having to cast my voice further in order to get it to the phone, all the echoes that are in the room are going to be picked up on the audio.
Next we have the GoPro. The GoPro is great because it's tiny and it'll fit in your pocket. And if you don't have a smartphone with you, if you want something that's got a little bit more weatherproofing and it's a bit more rugged to go outdoors, then that's fantastic. It's also great for bolting onto, the side of vehicles or onto bicycles or boats or pretty much anything you can think of to get shots that are kind of hard to find in other places. There are also vehicle mounts for them, which is tremendous. The field of view is very, very wide, which is good, although it can lead to sort of weird distorted things if you get too close to it. But sometimes having that extra wide field of view in something very pocketable is tremendous. You have to be slightly careful if you're just holding it like I am now. If you're holding it like I am now, that you don't put your hands over too high up, because on the side of it, the microphone is just there, and if you put your hand over it, See, it muffles the sound like that. So you want to be careful about that. But otherwise, they're a tremendous little thing, and you can get some really good sort of wide angle shots, which are tremendous. And the only disadvantage with these is that you can't see what is in frame or not, because there's no screen on the front. It does give you a screen on the front to tell you that the thing is still recording, and there's a little red blinking light and a counter to tell you how long the thing's been going for. So that's useful, but you can't tell if you're in frame or what the exposure's doing or anything like that. So you have to be wary of that when you use these.
Made popular by Casey Neistat, the Canon G7X is one of the most iconic of all the little point and shoot cameras that vloggers have been using now for a really long time. There's a G7X2 out, and it has been for a year or two. There may even be a G7X3 out, to be honest. I haven't paid attention and looked that closely, but when I got this, I got it because of all the vloggers that used it and said good things about it. It's got a reasonable autofocus. It does track onto your face, but it does take a little bit of a time sometimes to find that focus, but it does get there, and when it does, it locks on pretty accurately. The tilty out screen at the back, which flips up and around so that you can see your face, makes this absolutely a joy to use and is very easy. And as you can see on the top of mine, the thing that looks like Don King's haircut that's on the top of the thing there, that's actually a little wind muffler, because it's got a built-in microphone, and you can get a lot of wind noise in there, although these are aftermarket things that you can buy, a little sort of dead kitten arrangement that you can stick on the top and prevent the thing getting windy. And it's actually pretty good. I've tried it outside even when it's fairly windy and riding my bicycle, and it stays pretty wind-free, so that's absolutely tremendous. I'm simply moving into things that I think are going to be more profitable for me and give me that buzz of creativity that I love, that I need to get from my day job.
The Fuji X-T2 is my go-to camera when it comes to doing still work. It's absolutely amazing. It's got an amazing sensor in it, it's really good in low light, it's a terrific workhorse camera, and it feels very good in the hand too. There's lots and lots of stuff on my channel that you'll see about Fuji cameras, and I love them all. The lens that I'm using on the front of this is the 10 to 24mm f4 lens, and on the top of it there is a Rode microphone. Now to the problems with using the X-T2. The first is that there's no flippy out screen thing, so you can't actually see yourself while it's recording. So you can't, like some of the other, like the GoPro for example, you can't tell whether or not you are exposed correctly or in focus or anything like that. You just have to kind of trust that those things are. With a very wide angle lens like this, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be in the frame, but I really can't tell anything about the exposure or anything like that. But worse, I can't tell if the thing is still recording. You see, the GoPro has a little LCD screen on the front of it, and that's got a little timer that tells you how long the video has been recording for, and it's also got a little red blinking light that tells you that the thing is on. On the front of the Fuji X-T2, I've got nothing, so I'm just looking at a completely poker-faced black box at the moment. I cannot tell whether or not this thing is recording me. I have no idea at all. So, although it is a really good camera for recording video on, and the quality of the video is really good, it is frustrating because you can't tell sometimes, and it's happened to me on multiple occasions, the thing is just shut off, and I've recorded the whole bit to camera and then it hasn't turned out, so I've had to redo it. And so here's the thing, right? You might have a slightly different phone, you might have a slightly different action camera, you might have a slightly different point and shoot, and you might have a slightly different main camera. The thing that you want to sort of bear in mind when you're doing vlogging is it something that you're going to be able to take with you every day, all the time, everywhere you go, so that you can pick up those bits of footage that are going to make your vlog interesting. So for that, the smartphone is definitely the best because it's with you all of the time. The little point and shoot, the Canon G7X and the Action Cam, the GoPro, they are terrific too in their own sort of ways. The X-T2 is something that is going to give you much better image quality, but you do have to suffer a little bit with the extra size and weight. But most importantly, whatever camera that you end up taking, the most important thing to remember is that it's no good if it stays at home. You have to be prepared to bring that thing with you wherever you go, and if you do that, you're much more likely to be able to get compelling footage because you're going to be able to wander around and see the world around you. And so that's what I highly recommend you do, is go for a wander, go into town, go down to the beach, go up to the mountains, do things which are interesting for your audience to see.